master program I'll be showing you to build today. As you can see, you can navigate just like in a regular EV3 robot. You can put in your mission programs into it, and you can also play them. And it switches to the next screen afterwards. So if your robot comes back to base and you don't need to rerun a mission, then you can just go on to the next one. However, make sure you don't get to this screen. Otherwise, you can't do anything but exit the program and then go back into it. Let's get into how to do this. Hey guys, Wordy Nerd here, back with another video. Today, the setup looks different because yes, we are looking at programming. Today, we'll be looking at a master program. This is possibly one of the easiest ways to reduce your time in FLL. And although it looks complicated, if you break it up step by step, it really is truly simple. So with that, let's get started. Like most times when you are trying to break down big things, we will start at the beginning. First, I have two variables. One is program count, and one is number of programs. These will both be important to our cause. Program count will count the number of the program that you are on, so the program that you have selected. Number of programs is how many programs you are intending to run. Keep in mind that this must be one above the actual number of programs you intend to run. So if I put 5 here, that means I'm intending to run 4 programs. If not, it will bug out. You have to have the extra number. And unlike a regular program, this will not connect directly to the next block. Instead, as you can see, it has this intersection of 3. This is multitasking in EV3, and although it sounds complicated, it is necessary for this program to run. That means that all 3 of these infinite loops will run at the same time. Now let's walk through the first loop together. So first, we have a read variable, which will read the variable named program count. This loop displays the programs, so it needs to read the program count so you know which program you're on. Then it will take that number and import it into the switch, which is a numeric switch. If the program equals 1, then I use a display block to display the name of the program, in this case, program 1. But if you were an FLL, you could display the name of your missions. And then 1, 2, 3, and 4. But when you get to 5, like I said, there needs to be an extra one. Otherwise, the program will bug out and it won't work. However, you can't actually come back from this. So I placed an XXX here, so in case someone accidentally gets to this, they'll know to exit out of the program and then get back in. Now that we're done looking at the first part of the program, let's look at the second part. As you can see by my comment, it says reacting to button controls. This is where everything in the master program basically takes place. First, we have a switch, and this compares the buttons. It says if the down button is pressed, symbolized by 2, then program count and number of programs will be put into this math block. If the program count and the number of programs aren't equal, which they shouldn't be, because if you're trying to change it, then you will get to logic. This says if it's yes, then switch the program, +1, because down is -1. Just like you would do in a regular EV3. Pressing down will make you go down a program. If it's not equal, then it will just play a sound. Program count is the count of the program, essentially. So what you have is a program number, and it will tell you which program you're on. The number of programs is your total number of programs. And then it does the same thing for up, except this time it adds 1. And adding 1 will tell the display, which is up here, to read that variable again, because remember, this is constantly reading, and they were all doing this at the same time. Once it's changed, the display will read this in a very small fraction of a second, because computers are very fast. And then it will put that in here and display your new program that you selected. And finally, for the third program, we have running the programs. Now, this is perhaps one of the most important parts, because After all, your whole point of this is to run a program and make it like an EV3 robot without having to reset to factory settings. The first switch and only switch in this is if the center button is pressed. Then it will run this. First, it runs a motor reset block, or a motor rotation block, to make sure everything is perfect and ready for the next program. And the my block that I just deleted was a gyro block, which will reset your gyro, because we use that a lot for turns. However, my blocks do not work in different files, so I cannot do that. And then it will read program count again, and then you can check the number of your programs. If you've already programmed a program and you want to put it in your master block, just use the my block function, which I will explain later, and then make it into a my block and place it into here. And here are your 4 programs. On 5, you have nothing all the time. You never want to put a my block in 5, because again, 5 won't run. Then, after that, the program number will be put into here, and 1 will be added to it, and that will be the new program number. Our team did this. You do not have to do this. If you think that your mission will fail, or there's a high chance that your mission will fail, and it's just one of those runs where it's very fast, but you might have to rerun it again. The reason we have this is because now the program number will be added to 1. That way, when the robot comes back, the next program it will be on will already be selected, so you can just press the center button again. And at the end, all of the motors will stop. I know that master programs are very complicated, and I might not have said everything so clearly. So, to recap, let's go over everything again. First, there will be a variable called program count, and there will be a variable called number of programs. If you want to run 4 programs, you'll need 5. If you want to run 6, you'll need 7, and if you want to run 8, you'll need 9, and so forth. You always need 1 above the amount of programs you actually want to run. And program count must start at 1 if you want to display the first program. The main base of the master program is the middle loop. If a certain button is pressed, then it will add 1 or subtract 1 from the program count. Then the display will read it. If the display reads that a new number inside this variable is changed, then it will display a different program. That way you know which program you have selected. And finally, this will read the program count as well. And if you happen to press the center button while you're on it, then it will run the program, in which you can put into my blocks in these. After that, it will add 1 to the program counter. That way when the robot returns from base and finishes running the program, it ends up at the next program. So if all you have to do, reposition it, put on your motors and sensors and whatever attachments you have, and then just run it again. You won't have to switch a program if the 1 succeeds. If not, you can always just press up. And keep in mind that 5 is like a dead zone. If you get into 5, the only way to get out is to exit the program and re-enter it. This is the master program I'll be showing you to build today. As you can see, you can navigate just like in a regular EV3 robot. You can put in your mission programs into it, and you can also play them. And it switches to the next screen afterwards. So if your robot comes back to base and you don't need to rerun a mission, then you can just go on to the next one. However, make sure you don't get to this screen. Otherwise, you can't do anything but exit the program and then go back into it. Let's get into how to do this.